Hi, I'm Heather, and I'm here to inspire you to change your mindset so that you can gain momentum and transform your life one simple step at a time. And I have been very cognizant about compassion lately. How am I compassionate with myself? How am I compassionate with others? And then those that I surround myself with, or those that I follow, those that I see on a daily basis, are they compassionate? And I realize that here we are in, into August of 2020. I usually hate to date these things, but man, it has not been an easy year, has it? No. Has anyone had like an absolutely gangbuster, everything has been perfect, like every area in your life has just come together? And no. Okay. So what I am beginning to see is that people's compassion for themselves and for others is waning. Man, some of you are just, you're mad. Some of you are just downright frustrated. And you may acknowledge this now that I'm bringing it up, that you might have been, a little on edge with your family, with your children, with your coworkers. You might not be handling your clients with compassion. Anyone want to admit? I mean, it's not easy. Day in and day out, not quite knowing what's going to happen. Are we going to school? Are we not going to school? Am I going back to the office? Am I not going back to the office? Do I have a job? Do I not have a job? Okay, so I'm going to bring it on. You know what I'm going to say. I got a list for you. So first things first, I think that, this is what I think, and maybe what you all can do, this will be your assignment for this video, is in the comments, wherever you catch this video, if you can put what you think compassion is. This is what I think compassion is. Sympathy towards others that might be suffering, that might be going through a hardship, a desire to ease pain in others. But most important, compassion, real compassion cannot be, you can't fake it. It has to come from your heart, because people are going to see through it. And this is one of the reasons I consider myself almost over compassionate in some respects. And sometimes my compassion for others comes before my compassion for myself. But I have spent the last good few years trying to be more compassionate to myself, which is actually number one on Heather's list of, what are we going to call this? 10 ways to show or have compassion, okay? Number one, you cannot be a compassionate, kind person that lifts people up and helps people if you don't start with yourself. Now, many of you know that I felt a calling many, many, many years ago to lift and help people up. And in different chapters of my life, I have been very good at being compassionate towards myself. And other chapters, I have failed. Big, fat F. And this is just life. So no matter what chapter you're in right now, the good news is that you can turn it around. You can always turn it around. All right? You probably need a little inspiration to turn it around, but you can turn it around. So the next thing, so you need to start with yourself. You need to praise yourself for your successes. You need to even praise yourself for your failures, because y'all, I'm a firm believer that you can really learn from as much, if not more, from things that you didn't do good at, or that you failed at, than the things that you feel like was a, home run A+ effort. So, keep a list of your successes. It can be small things and it can be big things. And focus on your strengths and your, positive qualities, okay? So the next thing is part of being a compassionate person, I think, is being a good communicator. And this doesn't come easy to everyone. So I have a sympathy for this one. You need to be able to make eye contact with people. Part of good communication is listening to people. Look for the cues. Are they acting as if everything is okay, but are they actually not okay? Do you know the whole picture? Before you assume, do you know everything? Do you have all the facts before you assume something about someone? You know, sometimes if you're not very good at communicating, you need to start by, when you hear something and when you listen and when you're taking in the information from people, if you repeat it in a non-condescending way back to them, you actually are taking more in and are able to be more compassionate if you clarify. Some of the most compassionate people clarify. They never assume. Guys, how many times have you assumed something? I'm just going to take a sip of water right here. And you were wrong. And you made a big, fat mistake. I've done it. It's happened to me. People have done it to me. And it's like, wait a second. Had we communicated, had we picked up the gosh darn phone, or had we had a meeting, none of this would have been an issue. We would have been able to handle it with compassion and grace, and we would have been able to treat each other with respect. So communication sort of involves not only being able to carry yourself well and speak well, but it also involves listening and taking in the cues and understanding and often repeating or even asking questions. I know so many people that aren't compassionate, and one of the reasons why they're not is they cannot take a question. Every question that they ever get asked, they assume it's a threat. Again, assumption. They take it as a threat. Guys, questions make you think. Questions make you realize. Without them, you assume, and assuming always gets you in trouble. That one I could go on and on for, but I don't want to keep you here all day. The other part of showing compassion to others and to yourself is being able to express yourself in a way that other people understand. Now, sometimes some people, you know, they don't have a good poker face. So you're telling them something, you know, maybe you have a client or an employee or something, and they're confessing, or they're telling you that they have an issue, or something's not going right, or they're opening your heart to you, and this all goes like either fuming, red, steam out the ears, you know, or it's just aghast, or it goes white because you can't even believe what you're hearing. So sometimes you have to watch what your face is doing. Compassion has a lot to do with this. Smiling and nodding and being reassuring with your demeanor. Sometimes it means when you choose to raise your voice and when you choose to lower your voice. How you decide to carry on the conversation and what the tone is. Remember, tone is a sound. Even if you're completely frustrated and want to just wring someone's neck, often if you can just step back and take the tone down a little bit, you can show compassion even in moments that aren't so great. It's really important to do. Obviously, this one is a no-brainer. I think, what are we on? I don't know, maybe I skipped one. Showing kindness. Those that are truly compassionate to themselves and to others are often showing kindness. Often Very compassionate people are very into the details, and there's little things that they give you to chew on that no one else in the room gives you. Sometimes it might be a hug if touch is warranted. Sometimes it might be a nod. Sometimes it could be a smile. Sometimes it could be a, just pitching in and helping in. Sometimes it could be a thank you note. But showing kindness, those that are truly compassionate about themselves, about their clients, about their family, they are very good at showing kindness. Do they get it right all the time? No. But they usually are very good at being kind. The other thing that I think that very compassionate people are is they are very attentive to what might be going on in your private life behind the scenes. And they respect and often sort of have like a sixth sense of what might be going on. Sometimes compassionate people will just know when to call, when to write, what to post, what to say. They just seem to like nail it. And you're like, I needed to hear this today. Those are compassionate people. Stick with those people. I think that compassionate people also are advocates. They stand up for people. Sometimes, okay, sorry about that. We had a little technological issue. So I was talking about how compassionate people are advocates. They stand up for people. They listen really well. An advocate is a supreme listener. They are assertive in their communication when they are trying to stand up for someone, when they are trying to help someone. And they often are leaders within their community. Another important factor, those of you that know me know that I have said this for years and years and years and years, and it's something that my mother taught me. Compassionate people volunteer, and they lift folks up. My mom said to me a long time ago, after my horrible accident, prior to having my leg amputated, probably 3, 4, 5 surgeries in, and maybe even she had said this before, but it really became evident after my accident, before I had my leg amputated. And that was about a 3 3/4 year span of time. And she consistently reminded me that if you are feeling sorry for yourself, get out there, feed the homeless, help someone who can't help themselves. And that was such an amazing lesson. And there's nothing better comes from cultivating your compassion through volunteerism. It's really, really, really important. And many of the people that I look up to and that I really see as compassionate people, I see them as leaders. They are involved in their community. They are involved in causes. And I really appreciate that about them. When you volunteer, you get connected with others. You get connected with others that are different from you. You are giving yourself an opportunity to make new friends and make new connections. When you stick yourself out there and you show up to volunteer somewhere, or you end up on a board, or any way that you choose to volunteer, you will be able to hone in on your communication skills, which is a huge part of being a compassionate person. And the bottom line here, folks, with the volunteering aspect is that when you volunteer and you help others in your community, it is good for your body, your mind, and your soul. And anything that is good for those 3 things will help you become a better and a more compassionate person. Lastly, and I see people mess this up a lot. Maybe they've got some of these things involved, And surely I am really no expert here, but these are just some things that I noticed. I sat down and took some time today to think about and make a list of people in my life that I consider to be compassionate. And this was something that came to mind. Compassionate folks are very kind with their delivery. They are very kind with their words and the way that they speak, even if they are mad and upset. Yes, you can be mad, you can be stern, you can be upset, but you can still be compassionate. At heart, I think that compassion is about paying attention to the present moment with a loving attitude. Not what you know from before about this person or this situation, or not what you assume, but being present in the moment and bringing a loving attitude to the table. I think, it's not just about being able to send a thank you note. No, I want to see the thank you note in your heart when you are interacting with me. Anyone can write a thank you note, but I want to see your heart, and I want to see a loving attitude. That is compassion to me. So there are some things to think about. I think it's super important as we move into the last quarter of the year. It has not been, it's been a year, right? And I think that a lot of compassionate people have sort of lost their way. I think that people who were never compassionate really have turned into monsters. And I think that we all need more compassion. We all need to surround ourselves with compassionate people. So I encourage you to look at this list and see what things you're good at, see what things you need to practice. And then I also want you to look at your circle. Look who you let into your life. Are they compassionate? If they are not compassionate, they need to go. They really need to go. And if you need help with this, of course, I would love to help you more. You can hop on over to 𝐻𝐻𝑒𝐧𝐚.com. There's links in all of these profiles to find more information about how you can work with me, how you can work on your compassion, how you can work with those of you that have day-to-day struggles with people, maybe at work or in your family, or friendships with people that aren't compassionate. We can get through it together, but one thing I know is that we all need to be more compassionate. So without further ado, that is what I have for you today. And I just thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I ask you to be well and believe in you.